What's good, everybody? This is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, and this is another episode of The Composition. And today, man, it's a very interesting day. Here in Texas, we got some rain and we got some cooler weather than usual. It's almost like, dang, I forgot what it felt for to wear some sweats and to have a jacket on. And it's been really cool. It's been really cool. A lot of things have been popping into my head as far as just being able to shave off like a bunch of extra stuff to really focus. Because yesterday, I went through a series of things, and if y'all listen, y'all know I'm all about astrology. So yesterday, Mars went retrograde. And so, it can be one of those feelings to where you feel triggered and you want to react a lot, or it can be you just don't feel like yourself, like everything feels slowed down, which is not a bad thing. When I really sit here and think about what I'm building and what I'm building towards, it's learning from all of those extra stuff. It's all like, as an adult, there's a time and a place as far as to, there's a time and a place for, I wouldn't say decisive action. It's just what was in my head to bring up another point. What I would say is that, you feel kind of like, the actions that you take, and it's interesting. Like there's, and it goes along with this book that I'm reading, Atomic Habits. And one of the things that was written in there, this little quote was, where is it at? Okay. No behavior happens in isolation. Each action becomes a cue that triggers the next behavior. And I thought that that was interesting because when I'm looking at how much I've done just in general and how much more there is to go, there was something I was looking at, and that's what I meant by the action. It's just like we can be impatient, for a lot of things. And the one thing that I've noticed when it comes to just business and, building in general, I can say like my 20s was almost just like this high speed of let me just try stuff, move forward, drop stuff, and, all these different things. Instead of being I would say it was strategic. I'm not gonna. Sometimes I know some people may listen to my podcast and be like, "Damn, this motherfucker's going in on this." So that's not how it is. What it is I'm just very aware that after the decisions or after choices were made, I'm just all like, man, so what's the other thing? And instead of just being like, all right, let's move forward with that, it's just I would before be just stuck in that area. And sometimes we can be mentally and emotionally stuck a couple of years ago. Even though we're physically here right now, with the way habits and everything moving through, you can literally be in the emotional or mental state of a couple of years ago. So a lot of what I'm working on is being very present, but also taking those strategic moves. I was looking at the difference between Nas and Jay-Z. They both got about the same solo studio albums, I want to say. But what was interesting was Jay-Z dropped his first album at 27, and then continued to drop albums every year for 8 straight years. Nas dropped his first album at 21, and it was actually before Jay-Z's. And Nas is very different in their approach. The way I look at this is all astrological and different things like that. So we have Nas as a Virgo and Jay-Z is a Sagittarius, dealing with fire and earth. Fire is a lot of intuitive things, so it's really cool that it's interesting that Jay-Z doesn't physically write his music down. He'll construct it by way of his system of constructing rhymes and memorization, which is fascinating. I'm just all like, dang, he's got these 13 albums and didn't write none of this stuff down. That's so cool. Nas, on the other hand, he released on average every 2 to 3 years. And he's very meticulous. He's a Virgo, he's a writer, you know what I mean? But what was really cool was diving into the businesses that they do. Nas has got a very dope resume of stuff that he's invested in. That's really dope. Like Lyft is on there, Robin Hood. There's a lot of dope stuff that's on there and things that he has ownership of. And to me, I always look at it like, yo, these are probably some of the coolest businessmen. You know how many businessmen, in these suits or whatever, wish they could drop an Illmatic, wish they could drop a freaking Black Album. Like they're doing this stuff plus owning full-fledged businesses. It's so fascinating and inspiring. Another thing that I was looking, why those brought me to this, because it's just like the actions, when I look at during those times. And I was listening yesterday to Blueprint 2 from Jay-Z, Hard Knock Life, and he dropped it at the same age that I currently am at. So it's just very interesting to be able to listen to see where his head was at, and there's a lot of progress. But the main thing is the discipline of being able to apply said energy in the form of music or whatever your discipline, your art, way of creation is. And it's just like this quote in this book, it's not these actions are isolated incidents. This is a effect of several things. So one of the things I've been reading is scaling back. I like this idea of threes. And I'm into a whole bunch of different things. So I'm trying to create systems that include everything. But realistically, for the time being, it is, for me, it's going to be good to focus on like literally a few things at a time. And not necessarily a few things at a time. It's like a main area of things, and then within that focusing on executing one task at a time. Because I know me, and it's so funny now that I think about it. I was dating this woman and we had lived together, and I would get frustrated by the way that she cleaned, because she would start in one area and then go to another area and then go to another area, and there would be a bunch of like half clean things, but then ultimately it all gets clean. But I'm just all like, you're using more energy. Why don't you just stick to one room and then finish that, and then go to another room and finish that? And if you're listening, you probably are just all like, or you could have helped her. I forgot what the circumstance was, but it was just, I just noticed her way of cleaning. Now, it's funny that I would be so frustrated about that, because again, when you're self-aware, you really realize that the things that you get upset over other people over, or you get frustrated, is elements of yourself. And so the way that she would clean would be the way that I would do my interests, basically. And so I'll be doing this, and then I'll go over to someplace else to do this, and so there's a lot of like half partially done, not completed things. When I look at the level of uncompleted stuff, I'm just like, all right, Kevin, in this day and age, you were made for this particular time. When it comes to like having content and having things just to be able to have, I am very blessed and grateful, because I got several terabytes full of just videos from like almost a decade worth, and then on top of that, the albums, on top of that, the songs, on top of that, the books, the stories. And so it's really understanding where it is that you're trying to go, what it is that you're trying to do. I find myself doing these different things almost at a level of burnout, but that's why the slowdown is so important, because it's easy to look through, and that's what happened yesterday. I was looking through some articles, stumbled across this guy, random dude, and he's just all like 400 something followers on Instagram, no merch, doesn't do live shows, nothing like that. And this dude, currently, as of 2020, when he made this article, he makes $800 a month off of Spotify. And I was just like, what? I'm just like, what am I doing wrong? And then I stumble across this woman's cannabis or CBD company, and she started like a year ago, and has very specific content. Not like it's a lot, as far as like pretty much post every other day or once a week, at least, different things like that. And I'm sitting up there like, what in the world, what am I doing wrong, because I'm just all like, what is it that I'm doing wrong, but the thing mainly is consistency, and also realizing that there's an aspect, even with people that you're just not even salty about or whatever, but you see the potential of yourself, or the potential of your creativeness, or potential of your business from those people. And a lot of it is just figuring out, because again, we don't know what happens behind the scenes. I don't know what she put in, if anything, into YouTube pre-rolls or whatever, to where she would pop up on certain things related to it. I don't know if she was doing ads as far as on Instagram. Like, it's no knock to her. This wasn't a turtle thing that I was feeling within myself, and I had to super check myself, because I was just like, what's going on with this Mars energy? What are you doing? And a lot of it was being like, you got to look at people and be like, feeling, why should am I even doing this right, or should I be doing this, da, 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 da. And it's just all like, no, none of that. I internalized it. And I was just all like, all right, well, not eternalize those feelings, but just converted those feelings, that fire energy that I feel. I was just like, all right, let's make some plans. Let's do some research. How do I make, $800 or more on Spotify? What am I not doing? And sometimes it's a lot of the nitty gritty stuff, which is why it's important that I'm doing this podcast, and putting out the podcast, because that is the main thing. I've looked, and I haven't gone too much into, but just on thinking back, a lot of my issues, and I've accomplished a great deal. Like, I'm so happy and excited and grateful. One of the things that I noticed, that the creativity aspect was never an issue. I'll create shit everywhere. The issue was the consistency when it came to marketing, and sharing, and thinking of clever and interesting ways, and bringing value that funnels down and connects, as far as with the music and different things like that. That's what, like, I would do for a little bit and then be off to something else, and that is not sustainable. And so a lot of things have just been popping through my head with how to, not necessarily how to do this right. Again, everyone has their own way of doing things, and it's more so, when are you ready? Sometimes you got to ask yourself, are you ready for what you asked for? And is what they have so much better, in the sense of, like, are they happy? Sometimes, again, on these social medias, looks can be a certain way. A lot of things are like prettified and glamified up to make you feel like, well, not to make you feel, but it just, sometimes it just doesn't feel good. And to be able to combat that with reality, like, yo, there's people that rent out, like, you can rent out full-fledged whatever for a day to make it look like you're balling. This fake it till you make it stuff is very interesting because it's not sustainable. Like, the concept of it, fake it till you make it, like, yeah, like, ultimately, yeah, if you pretend to be this and this, while doing the work, and that's the big thing that throws people off. They would rather make the show that they're putting in the work instead of actually documenting them putting in the work. Every At this point, the inspiration, I feel like, isn't just the people who already have it or whatever. It's gonna be a lot of showing the behind the scenes shit. The people that got the 500 followers, the people that got their 1,000 followers or 1,000 subscribers, and different things like that. The behind the scenes of the business that's like doing well. They're not, dropping millions or, hundreds of thousands, but, they're able to sustain themselves and keep the company going, all the while paying the things that they need to, and maybe getting an employer to, like that. And then from there, you're just gonna grow, but you have to create the foundation to be able to support what it is that you got going on. So on that note, I want to go ahead and end it on there, and I hope y'all enjoyed this one. Again, my name is Mr. Composition MC that writes fiction, and if you're listening to this on Anchor, you can leave a voice message on the Anchor app, and I will get it and I can put it in the next episode. If you're listening to this on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe, drop a comment. And if you want to support me directly, you can via all the amazing things in the description section. I got t-shirts, I got a book, I got music, I have CBD, services to help guide you and to help clarify, certain things within life. So yeah, holla at your boy. Alright guys, this is Mr. Composition MC that writes fiction. Peace.